pull up a chair, take out the oxygen, and join the discussion.
You've just stepped into Life Unculturable,
The world where conversations grow faster than colonies.
We're your hosts, Sam and Julia, scientists by day,
Podcasters by night.
and professional oxygen avoiders 24/7. Join us in exploring the science of microbes that thrive in the absence of oxygen on Life Unculturable. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us here today. This is actually a really, really special day for us, and we're not just saying that because we're interviewing the people that pay us. We have our first Life Unculturable interview today. Julia, are you excited about that?
I'm super excited about it.
Me too. So today on Life Unculturable, we've got the anaerobic dream team. Proof that behind every great anaerobe, there's an even greater PI duo. So we're joined by Dr. Elshahed and Dr. Youssef, our PIs, collectively the Elshahed lab, as it were.
And the Youssef lab is world-renowned for pioneering research on anaerobic gut fungi.
And so even though we're specifically hitting on the AGF, that's not all that these folks are. There was a time where they were both humble bacteriologists. And even now, so specifically, Mostafa also serves as the director of our MCCF. So that's the Microbiomics and Culturomics Core Facility here at OSU. And essentially there, he is the head leader and is essentially spearheading all of our efforts to bring to life all of things unculturable.
And Noha is our queen bee, our queen of computation and bioinformatics, bringing all of our data to life. The bioinformatics powerhouse translating terabytes of sequence data into stories about microbial evolution, ecological patterns, and metabolic potential.
And together, they've published hundreds of papers and been cited tens of thousands of times.
They somehow still manage to know when every compressed gas tank is about to run out, right?
And they've been oxygen-free since before it was cool.
Please welcome these academic powerhouses, hands down our favorite postdoc supervisors, Mostafa and Noha.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Julia and I are sitting here in the podcast chamber. We've got the PIs, the big bad bosses in the lab, and we're going to ask them all of the hard-hitting questions that you've ever wanted to ask your PIs. And so first and foremost, how in the world did you end up in Oklahoma? Julia and I kind of took the listeners through what brought us from our respective home places here to good old Stillwater, Oklahoma. But how did you two end up here in Oklahoma?
I was born and raised in Cairo, Egypt, which is thousands of miles away from here. And I had no intentions of leaving the country at all. I was fine with spending the rest of my life there. And then I met my husband, and I don't want to say he convinced me, but it seemed like the right thing to do. Of course, if you don't know, my husband, he was already in Oklahoma. I met him when he went back to visit his family. And at that time, he was a postdoc. So somehow, some way, I ended up also going through graduate school and postdoc and academia in general. It wasn't really part of my plan. I mean, I wasn't against it, but it wasn't like my goal in life. But since he was coming back to Oklahoma, this is where I came back to, and it became my home. So, yeah.
No, lucky, yeah.
No, I was happy so I graduated from pharmacy school, and I was doing master's. I don't know if I was gonna stay in academia or not, but I was going through my master's when I met him, and I was gonna be 100% satisfied if I just worked as a pharmacist and left academia completely. So not like, this was not my dream either, but I was like, oh, okay, I can do this or that. It's not really a big deal. And then somehow I ended up here.
Nice. So your goal was to be a pharmacist, or it was really just this or that? Because you said you had a goal, but it wasn't that.
My goal was not specific enough. I liked, so I went to pharmacy school, and I liked that, and I liked certain subjects more than others. Microbiology is one of them.
You're in the biology. I mean, you're a biochemist.
Biochemistry was my number one. Microbiology, maybe the way it was taught in pharmacy school was not very attractive. I mean, it wasn't my passion by any means. And that's why when I met him and he said, well, let's think about graduate school, I said, okay, I'm going to apply in the biochemistry department at OU. And I guess at that time it was late in the application season, it was already past the deadline. So we decided, well, since he's already in the microbiology department, he can push the application through easier. And then if I want to switch later to biochemistry, I can after getting accepted. But that never happened because I fell in love with microbiology.
No, because our PI, which is also my PI, was a great guy. And it's really...
Yeah.
There's two love stories in one.
Love, sulfate reduction. It's
Yeah.
Well, we're glad, and the microbiology world is glad that you didn't choose biochemistry. So maybe just before we go to Mostafa, maybe you can just give us a quick rundown of what it is that you're doing right now. Like you did your master's in pharmaceuticals and then your PhD in microbiology, a postdoc in microbiology, I assume. And now you're a PI. What is your specialty? What would you say describes your research?
Microbial ecology, anaerobic microbiology. That's like the very big picture. But of course, my first and foremost is the anaerobic fungi. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We can talk more about that.
Oh, yeah, you certainly will.
Yeah.
Well, that was one part of the story. Mostafa, do you want to give us your side of that story?
No, neither confirm nor deny. Okay, yeah, so I'm from Cairo, Egypt as well. It's a big, loud, dirty city. It's like the New York City of Egypt. People there think they're the center of the universe. And I went to pharmacy school, and then I continued in the same pharmacy school doing a master in the microbiology department in the pharmacy school, because unlike Noha, I really like microbiology. And then I very quickly realized that the capabilities and the personnel and the whole ecosystem there the science wasn't that good. So I started looking around and started applying to different universities in the United States. I got accepted at OU. I got accepted in Southern Miss. I kind of got accepted in University of Texas, San Antonio, but they messed up like the organizational thing. So I went to OU and continued with my PhD at OU. And then when I was looking at a postdoc, I didn't look as hard as I could. I still regret that I declined the postdoc position in Caltech, which have been really, really good. And the guy there went and did a lot of amazing things. I could have been part of that, but it's still all right. And then when I was planning to start looking for faculty positions, and then decided in December of 2006 to start looking for positions starting 2007, so it was very late in the season. I applied in two places, OSU and Southern Miss, the same university that accepted me as a graduate student, was offered the job in both places. And I, again, chose OSU. So I stayed in Oklahoma since 1996. And that's that.
Wow. So what made you decide against Southern Missouri? I assume Southern Miss is Southern Missouri.
Southern Mississippi. Yeah.
Oh, Mississippi. See,
it's
uneducated European here.
It's smaller, more regional school, and actually they don't have a PhD program in the biological sciences. They have a master's program. So if I go there as a graduate student, I would need to go somewhere else for my PhD. And as a professor, I mean, when I interviewed they're the nicest folks, really. But as a professor, you want to be in a bigger school. And this one, believe it or not, is bigger and prestigious.
Oh, yeah. We looked it up recently, like 26,000 undergrads at OSU, I think.
Yeah,
that was the official number.
Yeah.
Oh my! Now, Julia, can you remind me what was your life aspiration before going into your PhD? How did we get here?
Not to die. No, I'm very similar to Noha in this regard. I didn't really have a set goal that I really wanted to do. I was interested in so many things that it changed all the time. Like I wanted to be a lot of things. One among them would be an author or a journalist. And then I kind of stumbled through university. I started out with chemistry and biology, then dropped chemistry, and then I just stumbled my way through biology, microbiology, or molecular biology, and then microbiology, my PhD.
Wow.
What about you? Did you have an aspiration before you started? Like, is that where you wanted to be?
I think at some point in time, I fell in love with microbiology. So I guess it's a good thing that we formed these little teams inside the room here, because I probably fell in love with microbiology about my junior year of my undergrad. But prior to that, no, I was dead set on being a high school Spanish teacher.
Oh, yeah, true. We talked about that.
That's what I was going to be. And I thought, I'll be the jack of all trades, high school Spanish teacher, high school biology teacher, maybe teach chemistry, biology, that sort of thing. And then, about my junior year, about the same time I fell in love with microbiology, someone was like, "Oh, Sam, you should teach kids that are like 2 or 3 years older." Oh, okay. What's that look like? And well, now here we are. We've just been kicking the can down the road ever since.
Yeah. And for those people who are just listening and do not see the video that is non-existent, we split the room into 2. It's like Mostafa and Sam on one side and me and Noha on the other.
Yes, much like the lab is split into hemispheres with the fungi and the bacteria. We have done so in the podcast studio as well today.
Cannot help it. It's just natural to us.
Yep.
Well, given that you guys have been both through all the academic career, whether or not you wanted to from the beginning, was there like a favorite stage, a stage where you would have said, if I could be this for the rest of my life, I'm happy?
A postdoc for me. Yeah. That was the best time of my life. The kids were little. Actually, the first half of my postdoc was only 1 kid. The second appeared when I was still a postdoc. But that's the time where I was actually doing what I wanted to do. Only what I wanted to do. Now I'm doing what I wanted to do and a bunch of other things.
What was that you wanted to do? Like, what was the thing that...
So I worked on different projects, but not the project itself. It was, I had time and I was still working in the lab, and I can go and read and find something that would help this project, and then place orders for chemicals, and then start and doing it, and then getting the results and putting everything together in one final piece of work. It was amazing. And then I didn't need to worry about funding. The money was brought by someone else. It's not my problem. And I just needed to focus on the fun part, which is working in the lab. I don't get to do that anymore. So now it's more stressful, of course. Even after 10 years, it's more stressful because you're supporting people. You have to make sure that there is some way, somehow, these people are going to get paid every month. If it's not through a teaching assistantship, then you have to provide them with research assistantship money, or just make sure that they are supported. And that's a big burden. So postdoc, best time. You need to enjoy it.
Oh, I am. I could be this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I said that I could be this for the rest of my life. If I don't have to move from that, I would happily stay as that.
But academia is not built for that.
Yeah.
And Mostafa, what about you? Do you have like a favorite time in your academic life?
Yes, so 2 times. The first one, of course, is postdoc for the same reasons that Noha had, especially after the first few months of postdoc, in which things starts to gel and you start feeling I could do that. And this is where I discovered, like, I can really write a paper, or I can start writing a proposal, or, do what Noha's did, and my PI, much like her PI, gave me a lot of freedom to do things. So it was really good. Second favorite time, believe it or not, would be like right now, because, you're older, and I'd like to think I still have my mental faculties. Maybe not, but I do. And there's not a lot much to prove. So you're doing work because you're enjoying work.
Nice.
Well, I was starting to think that it was all downhill from here, Julia. we have peaked. We have peaked. But I think we can both agree with Mostafa and Noha that it's the postdoc, especially in comparison to like the time during the actual earning of the PhD, it's been much nicer.
Yeah.
Much nicer.
There's not
and
this
so
big thing looming over you.
Yes. There's light at the end of the tunnel, kids. Before the next tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the least favorite time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've went through our most favorite times. Let's go through, what are our least favorite times then?
Now. I'm not going to say, no, well, I think going through a PhD and not the whole thing, but stressful times like the general exam or the time before defense. It's like these stressful times, maybe I don't want to be there again. I don't want this feeling again. But of course, when you finish, you have to go through this to finish. But this was a part where I don't want to go and do it again. But of course, you have to. So. And then the next would be when you are an assistant professor until you get your first grant. Because this is, again, very stressful. When you are on a tenure clock and you need to bring in money, this different kinds of stress. They're both maybe as stressful, but they're just different kinds of stress. I would not want to be there again and trying to get, especially now, at least I've done this 10 years ago. Now it would be very hard to try to get money in such an environment. Yeah.
Maybe for us uneducated European like me and our listeners, maybe could you explain the difference between an assistant professor, a tenure track? Like, what are all these terms?
Okay, so when you are hired, you're hired as an assistant professor, and you're given at the end of your 6th year, you are applying for tenure. And then it depends on where you are, but there are requirements that you have to satisfy for tenure. Some of it is just research-based, so you have to publish. But because when you start as an assistant professor, you're expected to build a lab. So they give you funds called startup funds. And depending on the place you're at, some places want you to, after using up the startup funds, which usually they give you 2 years to spend it, you're supposed to bring in external money matching that startup. And so you're hustling in the first 2 years or 3 years to build up your lab using the money that the university gave you, but at the same time, you're hustling to get external funding so that you can build your career, get PhD students and have them graduate and all of that in your first 5 or 6 years. So that is stressful because it's not like writing a paper and getting a rejection, but then you still have the option to submit it somewhere else. It's like you write a proposal, you're hoping for convincing the reviewers that it's worth giving us the money. But what if they don't? There's no control. But past submitting the proposal, you don't have any control. That's stressful. And it's stressful, and the stress doesn't go away until you get that email or phone call saying, hey, we're giving you the money. And for me, it wasn't very long. I don't even remember now if I waited 2 years or 2.5 years, but it was stressful. Yeah.
It was a few months.
Yeah,
I got the Sun Grant.
Oh, I don't count that one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the NSF. It was a second time. I mean,
It's 2015.
But did we write it twice and we got it funded the third time?
I think, well, yes, the first time was a pre-proposal that got rejected. The second time it passed a full proposal and got rejected. And the third time we got it.
Yeah. So lots of trials and trying to get on the reviewers' good sides. But I mean, you learn along the way what they are expecting to read. But yeah, that's definitely a different kind of stress compared to the PhD and exams and stuff like that. Because it's not just you, it's like your whole career. And if you already have students and if you end up not getting tenured, what are these students going to do? They've already started the program. Very stressful.
I see. What about you, Mostafa? Do you have a least favorite time of the academic path?
Yeah, kind of similar but different, Noha. I mean, to me, of course, the very first few months as a tenure track assistant professor, I mean, not necessarily because of the money, but because it's a family move to a new place. You have a kid that's always sick, that doesn't like the daycare. You're always sick. Everything is stressful. You're not sure if you're good enough. And it's just, until you settle down, then it's hard. But then afterwards, you realize that you could do that, and then it gets better. And then similarly, your first few months as a graduate student, because again, new science, new place, new system completely. Just don't know if you belong. You don't know until, the point for me was giving the first seminar. So you start in August and gave the first seminar in early December. And after it was very well received, then I felt I belong. And then everything was much easier. Once you get the feeling inside that I could do that, then you feel much better, even though you haven't achieved that. Like all during my PhD, I never doubted that I'm going to get a PhD, because you're in a good trajectory and things seems to be going well. So it's always the starts that's hard.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I think the starts and obviously we're not in a tenure track position just yet. We're with the lowly postdocs in the lab. But I think for me, getting towards the end of my PhD, it was kind of stressful similar to what you were saying, Mostafa, because you know you're about to move, but where am I going to move? Move with the family. Am I going to be able to do this? Am I like PhD worthy type thing? Like I can remember being at the meeting in Tulsa that we had for the Cobry grant, and I think either you or Paul Lawson introduced me as like the soon to be Dr. Sam Miller, and I'm like, guys, this defense is like 10 days from today. Let's calm down, shall we? And I remember someone from across the table was like, "Oh, Sam, you're here?" And I went, yes. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Oh, I should not have been here. I should have been studying my slides." But I remember being so nervous, especially that last couple of weeks before the defense happened, because we just happened to, close on the house, and we did all of the things, and I'm like, "Oh boy, this is really going to go south if I get rejected at this during this defense." I don't know.
Julia, you're going to tell us your low point academically?
I honestly, I'm a very simple creature. I just grow into whatever position I have.
That's a good way.
And I honestly, I wouldn't say that there was one point that I really did not enjoy. It was mostly outer circumstances that made it hard. Like, I think the hardest part during my PhD was nothing about the PhD process or the science. I mean, it's stressful, it's terrible. We all know that, but it was the time when Corona hit, and at our university where there were restructuring, so there was more work to be done for me in addition to my PhD. And then our colleague suddenly died in a accident on the mountain. So that was like all of that together was the most terrible time. But I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed going to university. I enjoyed being an undergrad. I enjoyed doing my master's. And I also enjoyed doing my PhD, and now I'm here enjoying the postdoc.
Yeah. Well, in that vein, if between all of the years of experience that you guys have, if you think there's a particular piece of advice that either you've been given or that you would see given out to someone else who is perhaps thinking about going into academia, maybe that's soon to be applying for assistant professor positions when their postdoc is up, wink, wink. Or perhaps that's somebody that's, setting at the end of their PhD and is contemplating postdocs, industry, or just maybe general life advice. If there's a good bit of advice you feel like you could impart on somebody, what do you think that might be?
That's good, because we talked a lot about the bad. We can talk about the good.
It does exist.
Yeah, there is some good. So I'll talk about what I enjoyed, and then I can answer that question. So what I enjoy from being a professor I did not think I was going to enjoy it, is teaching, and of course research. I do enjoy these two things. My most important advice to anybody who decides to do that is, when you're doing it, you have to enjoy it. Let's say, I don't know, you don't like teaching at all, but you have to teach. Find a material that would make you love what you're doing. If you got your PhD working on a project that was okay, but you never felt passionate about. Same thing with your postdoc if you continued the same kind of research. Now it's your time to find something that you are passionate about when you are an assistant professor. Do what you like and you'll feel the connection. I never thought that I would be working with anaerobic fungi, but I love them. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I can have the power to continue, because some days are so hard. But the passion and the love is what pushes me. So there are, of course, other advices, but I think that's the most important thing. That's what would keep you going. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I have some advice. Some of them are non-scientific, strategic, and some are more science-y. So, I mean, the main advice is think, if you decide to go into academia, make that decision. Don't ever doubt it or look back. You make a decision, you never think like, maybe I should have, because if you do that, you'll always feel that you took the wrong decision. So never even allow yourself to think that this is the wrong decision, whether it's to go in or to go out. Once you start applying to a job, you must find a unique angle for your proposed research and proposed activities and whatever you did, even in your research and the PhD, and sell it well. You have to tell them you're special somehow. I'm the only one who does this. I do that. My strength is combination of this and that. If you're one of many people who do diversity analysis or something like that, what makes you different than anyone else? So you always need to think about that. Once you're in, if you're going to academia, you have to learn to collaborate a lot, but you have to be very strategic about it, because once you start, or even if you're a postdoc, so many people will come talk to you with collaboration opportunities, and there's endless ways to do that, but you have to think and understand which one is useful and which one is a waste of your time, which one is you're doing stuff that's not of value to you, but you're helping someone else, which is not bad. But I mean, the worst thing is to try to force a collaboration between two scientists that there's just no useful synergy that you can see there. And then afterwards, you really learn when it's time to move on to the next level. So I've seen it with some of my postdocs. They were so impatient trying to get up a faculty position while they were doing really well in their postdoc, and 1 or 2 more years would have landed them somewhere. You probably know who am I talking about, yeah. We've seen others, specifically one example at OU, a postdoc that stayed 7 or 8 years as a postdoc, and she was really ready to be a professor long before me. And we ended up being, like moving here while she's still a postdoc, and she's the one that taught me everything when I was a graduate student. So you have to learn when is the time. And I understand, of course, there's lots of personal factors that factor into that, but you learn when it's time, when you're ready, when you're ripe to do it.
When you're ripe to do it.
Yeah.
Such a nice way to put it.
Yeah. And I mean, if you stay a lot, then you rot. And if you're early, then you're not edible in any way. Oh, no, poetry here. Yeah.
I was going to say, that's very poetic.
Yeah,
That
man.
would fit right into our smell episode.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and then in the more sciencey stuff, you really must be the best in the world in your very small area of expertise. You need to learn to grasp the significance of any unexpected results. So there's lots of good papers, I think, that came from very unexpected results in our lab. You need to learn to write quickly. You need to learn to write efficiently. You need to really, and that's something that we even write in our proposals. I mean, you read to learn the cost-benefit analysis of any experimental effort. So you can find out that by doing one small extra experiment, you get a huge benefit, or vice versa. You always need to think of this cost-benefit analysis when you're doing research.
Interesting.
Well, some pretty sage advice.
Yeah, hey.
Profound
Easier
advice
said than
here.
done, It's easy. It's easy to dispense advice.
That's right. Do as we say, not as we do, kids.
Cost nothing. Yeah.
All right. Well, today, folks, we're going to be playing a game for the very first time here on Life Unculturable. We're going to be doing 2 truths and a lie with Mostafa and Noha. So essentially, the way that this is going to be broken down is each of us have essentially prepared 3 statements about ourselves. 2 of them happen to be true. 1 of them happens to be a lie. We will take turns going around the table and saying the 3 things. Once we've said the 3 things, the other individuals are going to have an opportunity to guess at which one the lie was. So, who do you think should go first, Julia?
I think our queen bee should go first.
Oh, Queen Bee. Okay.
Okay. So the 3 statements. I am very good at baking and I make the best desserts. During my undergraduate, I never got a B except in microbiology. When I was in elementary school, I took ballet lessons.
I could believe every single one of those about you. The bee is maybe the one that I'm most on the fence of. What do you think then?
Well, I actually also had a B in my undergraduate microbiology course, so I think that one's believable. I think I would pick ballet. I'm going to say the ballet is the lie. That's what I'm thinking. Because we've had Noah's desserts.
You can see me blank. Okay.
I think I know the answer.
I think you should know the answer. You should not be taking a pick. You should know the answer.
Well, I'm not going to say, if I got it wrong, then
That's right. Don't
that's a big issue here.
Okay. So just to spite Sam.
Don't underestimate her scientific powers.
Yeah, so what are you thinking, Julia?
Yeah, now after we talked about it, I'm thinking it's a ballet thing, but just out of spite, I'm doing the bee thing.
Okay.
So you're going with ballet?
Yep, I'm going with ballet. Final answer.
And Mostafa
The
doesn't.
microbiology one.
It was the baking one. How did you expect
You got a
me?
B in microbiology?
Yes. Yes. I
think
got
you're-
one B. No, I
Very
mean,
good.
we took 5 different microbiology classes. I got a B. The only B I got in my whole 5 years was in a microbiology class.
Yeah, but it was one of 5. I mean,
No, but it's a separate.
okay.
And it was industrial microbiology.
Well, I mean, how can I dare to say you don't bake well, you know? I mean, you're putting me in a tough spot here.
True, that is dangerous for you.
I am so bad at baking and I suck big time. But
But
I
we-
love dessert.
But we had your desserts.
I was going to
They
say,
were
you
not
brought
bad.
one to one of the last lab lunches that we had. It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Nobody died.
I was going to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, we started off strong. I guess I'll go next. My 3 statements here are: until my freshman year of college, I was convinced that food delivery was just something done on TV/in the movies. My second one is I tend to spell potato with an E at the end. And my third one is I once caught a lemon shark while fishing from a boat off the coast of Florida.
Okay.
All very believable.
I have a follow-up on the toe one. Why potato with an E?
Well, if you think about it, you spell like your toe on your foot, T-O-E. So potato, I want to put a T-O-E at the end of potato. Allegedly. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny at this point.
No, there's a presidential candidate that went in elementary school and he fixed it for them and he added an E to the potato. That ruined his, I can't remember what that is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
1980s. Yeah.
Oh, oh,
Okay, I'll go with the potato one.
oh, okay. Potato one being the lie.
What do you think, Noah?
The shark.
Ooh, the shark one. All right.
I'm also with the shark one. What was the other one again?
The other one was that I was convinced that food delivery, so if you get like Chinese takeout or, get a pizza delivered, that was just a thing that people did in the movies and on TV.
Oh yeah, I totally believe that. That you believe that. No question about it.
Okay, well, I can reveal with the utmost confidence that I have never caught a shark off the coast of Florida from a boat. But yes, the other 2 were truths, and that one was my lie.
Yeah, let's see how highly we think of you, you know. As a,
Yeah,
True.
yeah, that potato, that's... it really does.
that hurts, huh?
Yes.
Sorry.
And that was the one that my wife suggested. She was like, "Oh, you should put that one in there." Like, these people, there's like a no firing clause at the beginning of this podcast. So,
Okay, Mostafa, what do you got for us?
Okay. The first one is I'm terrible in math. The second one is I'm left-handed and one of my children is. And the third one is I've never been to Asia, the continent, because I was told I mispronounced it.
Okay. I saw Sam's skeptical look when you said left-handed, and I think you went there like, okay, meetings. Did he write with his left hand or with his right?
yes, but I also feel like I've asked him that question before, and I'm trying to remember the answer.
Yeah.
Because you would think that would be obvious.
I think Noha knows that. I hope so.
Asia, the continent.
There's a lot of countries in Asia, though.
There is
Never
a lot of
been to one of
countries
them.
Asia. And also, is it Eurasia? Like what?
No, just Asia.
Oh, so we're going
Asia.
east of the
Yeah.
Ural
Well,
Mountains.
'Cause I
I've been to
could-
Europe
yes.
several times, actually. Yeah.
I pick
Mhm.
the math is the lie.
I
Well, you
honestly
went-
would.
They all sounded true to me. And you said terrible.
Okay.
But I would also go with the math.
But
Not
define terrible. Terrible means
No,
what?
I'm not good at math.
Not good.
Okay. So yeah, just reassess, which is,
Sam, what do you
Well,
think?
for the sake of being different
Mhm.
and picking the one that I feel like is obviously a truth or a lie, I'm going to go with Asia. I'm going to say we've never been to Asia.
Oh, I'm turned around. We're looking for the lie.
So the math is true, I mean, everybody knows that.
lie.
You're looking for the lie, of course.
Sorry, turned around in
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Can I
what?
pick again?
Yes.
Asia. Asia.
Mhm.
Well, now I'm different. And I don't know if I like it. No. Okay. Asia it is then.
That's right. I've been to China.
Yeah, I know you've been to China, but I
2015.
keep thinking they are all true.
Oh, have you been to Yanfen?
No. I've
Oh.
been
You
to
said,
other,
you said
yeah.
I have never been, and I
Yeah.
keep thinking I have been.
Yeah.
I know you've been to
No, I
China.
mean, and the other thing, part of Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula,
Yeah.
is technically part of Asia, and I've been there so many times. We've been there, in our honeymoon, actually. Yeah.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
That was a tough one.
Well,
Julia.
that leaves us with one. We saved the best for last.
Uh-oh. That puts the pressure on, right? So, first one. I've lived on 3 different continents so far in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've earned a bachelor, a master's, and a PhD, but I failed my Matura, which is the high school diploma, the final one that you have to do in Austria. I've written a short novella and published it under a pseudonym.
Whoa.
I'll go with novella. I know you lived
Silence.
in. I know you lived in.
The first one is true.
Yeah,
for
I know
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking we've definitely
But
talked about
can you
like
give us more information
Australia,
on the
Austria, and the
Matura
U.S.
one? Can you?
So the Matura is when you go through the Austrian high school, you have like one final exam that you need to go to university and everything.
Mhm.
And it's just, what would be the American equivalent there?
Did you have to score a certain?
Is it like a
score?
standardized test?
It is a standardized Austrian-wide test
So-
at the end of high school.
Yeah, it'd probably be like
And-
the ACTs or the SATs
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
here in the
But you can
States.
take it more than one time
You can.
because it's a
You
pass. You have to pass it to go to college.
Not always. You can. There are different routes to college as well.
Okay.
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 That's
Wink,
important
wink.
Information. This is the lie.
You're going with number 2.
Yeah.
I failed.
Mhm.
Okay. So Mostafa, your answer was the
Staying with
novella?
the novella one. Yeah.
Well, see, I want to believe most of these, so I'm gonna go with Noha. I'm gonna say the second one, the failed one.
Well, in this case, Mostafa is right because I've never published a novella.
Oh.
I've not even written one.
And here I was ready to read
But you
it.
can. I mean, if you have the capability.
It would have
Aw.
come out in conversation. You know?
Oh.
That is I would
Yeah.
be arrogant enough to not only talk about the continents I've lived on, but also the novella I published.
Well, do we count the ostrich diversity paper as a novella?
Oh, probably.
Fiction. It's all fiction.
My reviews for my PhD thesis would probably count that as novella.
Mm. Oh my!
But yeah, I failed my Matura once. I took it again and I passed.
Okay.
Well,
So we're terrible bakers. We've failed exams.
not
We've been to Asia, and I never did catch a shark. Well, you were just talking about, writing quickly, writing efficiently, getting things out, doing things well. Do either of you feel like you have a favorite publication or perhaps a favorite project that you've worked on over the years? One that really stood out, above all others?
Yep. For me, it's the genome paper. I was still a postdoc, and I was doing all the things. So the C1A, the first AGF genome. Yep, that was my favorite. Well, it wasn't published in a very high impact. I mean, it was decent, but not like high impact journals. But still, the amount of work that went into it and the passion that I had, it started there. Because before that paper, before I started working on that paper, I was not doing any fungi. This was my first real fungi work. And I just fell in love with, because looking through the genome and everything that they have and what they can do or have the capacity of doing, and just writing it and learning. Because also before that, bioinformatics was not, like I could do it, but it's not like something that I would spend a long time on. And it was like a switch for me, this paper.
So that's where your love for bioinformatics.
Yeah, and for fungi, both.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the C1A paper, that would be the Piccoromyces. Just for those who don't know, AGF, anaerobic gut fungi, and C1A, the Piccoromyces, the first genome for our very specific fungi published.
Yeah.
Nice. And I heard Mostafa nodding along and yesing along, so that's the same for you?
So there's 3. This one is certainly on top of it because the amount of effort that Noha and me did work on it and all that. And it's also the most heartbreak because it almost got into science, and we got the reviewer comments and I misread it. They wanted us to do extra work, but I thought they just wanted rewording. So they rejected it, and then it went to PNAS, and it got through multiple rounds of reviews, and then it got rejected. So it was very close to being the big deal that I feel it deserved.
It's also an accomplishment because the fungi are really rich in AT. Like the genome is really hard to assemble. So the first one is really, that should have been a
and the graduate student who worked on it, everybody who worked on it worked very hard. It's a lot of work on it. Also very proud of in 2005, when I was a postdoc, at this time you can get genomes from metagenomes directly. So we had to prepare phosmid libraries, essentially clones. Each one has 40 kb. And we screen them for pieces of genomes that belongs to novel organisms. And we got a genome from a phylum called OD1, and we're the first to do that. And then in 2011, we continued and used microfluidics to get a genome of the same, a similar group of organisms called OP11. And then all of a sudden, scientists discovered, genomes from metagenomes, and they found that they all belong to this Petiski bacteria or, candidate phyla radiation or whatever you call it. And everybody looked at them and said, oh, look, they're so cool, this and that. And then, famous scientists in Berkeley have been working on them and many others. But, I'm proud of the fact that we're the first to do that and first, using the technology that we had. And then the third part that Noha actually should be very proud of is a paper in the ISME journal about how halophilic archaea use novel ways of osmoadaptation to survive by synthesizing tree halos. At this time, they used to think that they only do salting in and get potassium from the outside. Experimental work that she did in addition to the bioinformatic work, and how it all came together and was so convincing, and we got other isolates from other organisms and looked at genome. It was such a great paper, in my opinion.
That's a close second for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The both of them are very old.
I thought about the survey, as well as the turtle stuff. Either this one or even the paper we're about to submit. They're high up in our favorites.
Yeah, they're cool, but the favorite.
But part of being the favorite is it's long time ago, so you love it more because it's been a while. But I think in terms of accomplishments, pure accomplishments, the recent mammalian survey, the recent discovery in tortoise, and the recent isolation of this new genera and proposing an order, maybe 10 years from now they would be our favorite. But it's just because they're so new, they're not,
Yeah, you always hate the papers. You're about to submit it, you hate it.
Yeah, like a genome paper, we didn't publish any single paper in 2012 because we're busy doing that. There's 2 postdocs and 2 graduate students and me working full-time on this paper to get it. And at this time, I didn't hate the paper, but I was very aware of how much hindrance it is to our progress. Anyway.
But that should be your all-time favorite then. No matter what comes next, if that was that much work. It's also, I think, probably what makes a favorite project is also what it does to you and how much you learn from it and how much you get to explore, find new passions maybe.
Yeah.
So, and just for our listeners, the mammalian survey, that's one of the first papers where I really got to know you guys because you included so many people around the world in this paper where you took, 660 samples made it into the final paper, but I guess there's way more than that that maybe didn't make it into the paper from mammals all around the world, and you looked at the anaerobic fungi diversity in those. And that's also a pretty cool publication.
Yeah, and it did take a lot of work. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you didn't have Sam to get all the fecal material.
Well, if you were here, this paper would still be ongoing because we will still be getting more stuff, for sure. Yeah.
We would find another animal that we need. Sam would get it first.
So does that mean we got a 2.0 in the pipeline? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes and no. Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, my. I think that probably segues nicely into AGF in general. I think we've sort of teased the anaerobic gut fungi a little bit, the fact that some of us in here love them, perhaps more than others. And obviously in the lab, the both of you have contributed so much overall to the knowledge of the isolates that are in this, just the diversity that's in this phylum of, Neocalammasticomycota. And so how in the world does one get involved in this phylum of fungi that are obligately anaerobic?
I guess I did not make that decision because I was a postdoc at the time, but it was mainly related, he will talk more about that, but it was mainly related to finding a niche, getting yourself in an expert in something that you will be
Exactly.
known for. But as for me, when my AGF connection was, I was put on a project as a postdoc, so I guess I didn't choose it, but it chose me.
And you found yourself one hell of a niche.
Yeah, in general, getting in AGF was, I think, partly finding the niche and where money was, because at the time biofuels were hot, and you can twist it in a way to say that we are using it for biofuels, but it's, for me, it's not that part that got me. It was just working with the genome and knowing how much they can do, and the evolutionary aspect is just still every time I think about it, it's amazing how they got themselves from being completely outside sequestering gut community where they did. Why are we here? Coming from outside to inside and making that flip completely. You're flipping your life upside down. And the part that was getting the isolates representatives of the different genera was also something that made me love them more. But I had a wonderful student, and she was very dedicated, and she was adamant on getting everything that she could isolate. She was adamant on getting them in pure culture. And then you would think that they're all the same, but they're not. And you know that some of them are older than others. It's just that there's a lot that is unknown. And that just keeps me going, keeps the passion going.
I will say, for me, when I watch you two give talks, and it comes to that particular slide where you have the time scale of the phylogenetic tree, and then you've got, the Cretaceous and all the different like geologic time eras on the bottom. And I always, when I see that figure, I'm always like, wow. I'm always mind blown. I'm like, because you've got the whales, branching off with this one genus at this one point in time, and I'm just, whoa. It always blows my mind when I see. I always look forward to seeing that figure. That's probably my favorite slide.
Now maybe I should get you into anaerobic fungi.
Oh,
We've dragged you onto the dark side
because you
already.
got nothing to do,
Yeah, I vowed to do it at least once before my time here is up.
Yeah.
So I will put in a solid effort at some point.
Yeah.
You're already on one of the publications. I mean, not published yet, but you're already on there.
Yeah. All that's left is to find.
And you've given a talk to the anaerobic fungi network.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm a card-carrying member now, so I was recently approved.
Oh, there you go.
Mostafa didn't give us his answer yet, right? What was the question
yes.
again?
Getting him into
getting
AGF.
to anaerobic fungi.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, when I got offered the faculty position, start thinking again of finding a specific angle. And my speciality was culturing anaerobic microorganisms, but mostly bacteria. So at this time, as Noha said, there's a strong push in the United States to produce biofuels, and there's lots of grants to do that. So I read and I knew that fungi are very good in breaking plant biomass, but the problem is aerobic fungi eat it all the way to carbon dioxide. So I was just joking, well, what if anaerobic fungi, fermentative fungi, exist? So I Googled that, and I remember that, and then, I Googled it jokingly, and then I found all this stuff, and for a couple of days I wasn't sure what it means and whether it's true and whether they're facultative or aerotolerant or type of yeast or something. So it took me a while to understand that. And then when I came here, I started talking to actually a fellow mycologist here, and he didn't even hear about them before, but he was kind enough to say, well, I'm doing lots of enzyme stuff and work with my aerobic fungi, and there's this opportunities for funding at the state level and different places. So why don't you be part of a team with your angle? And I'm grateful for that. And that was the very first grant that we got in November, so 11 months after we started as an assistant professor here.
That would be 2007.
7.
Wow.
Wow.
And then we had the first graduate student that worked in anaerobic fungi. It took us a year, in spite of our anaerobic background, it took us a year to get the first one, the C1A, into pure culture, because there's always this little thing. Now it looks natural to you, but I'm sure there's very little things that needs to be optimized.
Oh, no, that makes me feel so much better, because it took me a long time to even keep mine alive in the beginning.
Yeah, we were starting from scratch. Like we've never, and there's no culture collection to, or a media or something. So it took us a while, and then we started doing both.
And also 2007. I mean, for the people who are not into anaerobic fungi, and maybe Sam, that might also be news to you, but 2007, there was essentially nothing known about anaerobic fungi. We had, 6 genera? No genomes, no transcriptomes, no nothing. And then you guys came along with Radwa, the student you were talking about, and you just pumped out 13 more genera. And then, of course, with your independent survey, with the mammalian survey especially, pumped out 50 unknown genera, like uncultured ones. So we went from 6 genera before you joined to now 25 cultured one, and potentially 50 or 40 more of those, which is crazy to me. Because even when I started my PhD, that was before your 7 new genera paper. So at that point, we had, 11 genera? And then my first year of PhD, that's when the 7 new genera hit. And then it was just 7 new genera from mammals. Oh, and 2 more from the tortoises. And here are 50 more that we don't know yet.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he joined, so at least you know that they're real. We're not making
I
that
believed you
stuff
from the start. I was just...
and you isolated some more,
And just from the outside, it was this magical place, Oklahoma, where the only fungal culture collection lives, and where there's all these novel strains.
Only place where fungal collection lives and dies, and then gets resurrected again,
Yeah. No, that was pretty much my first foray into AGF, I think, as Mostafa came to OU and gave a seminar.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember what year it was, but I was maybe year 1 or year 2 into my PhD. And I remember you getting up there and it was all anaerobic this, and then it was fungi. And I went, huh? What?
Yeah.
We're talking about fungi?
That was post-COVID or pre-COVID?
I don't remember when you did that.
When did you start?
I started in fall of 2018.
Yeah, so it's probably pre-COVID, 2019 or something.
Yeah. But I remember you giving the talk, and you're talking about, lack of culture collections and storage issues and subculturing them so frequently, and I'm like, wow, they're anaerobic fungi. Yeah, so what I'm getting from this is
exactly was my feeling at 2007 or 2006 when I was Googling them.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is we need to have more weird conversations that lead to more weird Google searches.
There you go. Yeah.
So get with it.
How about we get into the next game, because we prepared a second game today.
Ooh.
Sam called that Who's Who.
Oh,
no, that's not here.
I'm
ambushed.
Some are trade secrets.
And essentially, it will be us asking you questions, and you guys will be deciding who's more likely to do what.
Okay, that's cool.
Oh, that is very cool.
So, Sam, do you want to start it off?
Sure. So again, who's who? Feel free to shout it out when you know it. And who is going to be the person taking longer to write the discussion section of a paper?
Longer, like time?
Yes, we'll say spend more time. Festering on the wording, as it were.
Well, yeah, that's hard to, she'll explain why.
It's probably the way we write papers, and this is going to sound very ridiculous, but the way we write papers is he writes bullet points and gibberish. But I understand exactly what he's looking for. So I go and find the information and I fill it in. So basically the discussion comes to me as bullet points and references to papers that we have talked about, but he always puts it down as a different name, but he means a different thing. Like he said, this author in 2018 who had a British name. Okay, I'm going to go find that talked about this. So there's a lot of that in the beginning. So and discussion does take a long time because of that. But this is how the dynamics of writing a paper works.
I mean, really, the way it works, we write the discussion one of the fairly last things in the paper. And the way it works, I write the first draft, and then I get it to her. And then she gets it to me. And then I get it to her again for the final polishing. So it's very hard to say who takes longer to write the discussion section of the paper because we write it together and we never.
Yeah. I also never. I don't like starting at the end. Basically, when you're writing, I want to finish the abstract and make it look perfect, and then I want to go into the introduction, make it look good. I can't just jump between things. He can. I can't.
I think my famous word is, let's leave it
Let's
to the
leave it
end.
to the end. What end?
Yeah.
Where is the end? Yeah, and I can't leave things to the end. It makes me like it gets under my skin. Leaving things to the end means I have to go back and do this again. I need to finish it now.
But if you leave it to the end, you can say, I finished the first draft of the whole paper.
No, I can't.
And then you work in layers, and then you go again. And every time it gets easier or more difficult, but at least you feel that,
I'm beginning to understand why this relationship, this work, works so well and like puts out so many great papers, because that sounds like the perfect, like you make each other whole.
Yeah, very complimentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next one, let's just keep going. So who do we think has the better poker face
Not me.
during faculty
No.
meetings?
You will know.
Neither.
Right away.
Neither.
No, but I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
more of a.
Yeah.
It shows on my face. I'm more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, I think when
Hopefully,
we're,
people don't look at my face in faculty meetings.
but I mean, when we're upset, I think it's clear. Yeah, I can't hide my irritation.
Oh.
Well, we kind of touched on the next one, but let's discuss it anyways again. Who's more likely to say, let's run one more replicate?
Not me.
Well, I mean, it depends. Because she does the work, sometimes it's not her, but she's more thorough as a lab worker. Yeah, I mean, I think what she's alluding to is sometimes when we're writing a discussion, I can go back and say it would be great if we do one more experiment,
Yes.
but not replicate.
Yes. And I hate that.
But but because it will make things much better.
Yes.
But replicate, let's make sure I always trust my ability to finesse in the writing to explain what we have instead of doing one more experiment, because I always think like in writing, you explain what you have and you put your discussion based on that. I won't get stuck saying, I want this paper, I want this guy to eat the substrates. I must. You see what I mean? Like I'm not stuck on an expected result. You use your linguistic abilities to finesse the paper.
Okay. Well, which one do we think is the more strict reviewer? So you've just gotten that glorious email. Hello, doctor. You have 12 days to review this. Please review now. Who do we not want getting that manuscript in the future?
So if it's something that I'm really familiar with, I'm going to be a bitch. But if it's something that I can understand, but I'm not in the ins and outs of things, I will be nice, for sure. But I don't know. I never...
Yeah, we never compare. Yeah, we never compare that. But I mean, to me, all the papers are. I mean, it's very clear. They fall into three categories. Like it's going to be rejected. It's so bad, it's going to reject it right away. It's so good that you're just working in languages and ideas. And the difficult ones are in the middle. And I tend to give the ones in the middle the benefit of the doubt and give a lot of leeway to the editor to decide. So I write my review in a way that the editor could use either to accept or reject it. But if I think a paper should be rejected, I make it very clear in my review. So I wouldn't call myself a strict reviewer, but I try to be helpful to the editor as much as possible.
Interesting. Do you go about your reviews the same way? Be helpful to the editor? Because I just now when you said that, I'm thinking I've tried to be as helpful to the people writing the manuscript as possible. Like how...
If they're in the middle category, in which,
of course.
Yeah,
if it's like so bad that you need to reject it, I try to formulate it in a way that could help them resubmit somewhere else.
Right. But you shouldn't spend a lot of time fixing sentences in a paper that's fundamentally so bad because...
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, you heard me going through one of those not too long ago. It was, I thought I was having an aneurysm. It was a rough go. But yeah, I think, for the most part, for me, I tend to tailor it back towards the authors as well. I've not really thought about tailoring it to the editor.
I wonder if that's like the stage we're in, because we are not editors anywhere, but I guess you guys are, right?
Yeah.
With that little life perspective there.
The next one is, who's more likely to start a new project before you finish the one you were working on?
Not by choice, but I would be the one. Usually it's because we work together. So if he's working on something that I am not working on, I would get interrupted to finish something and then get back to what I was doing, which I hate. And that's the best times is when we are both working on the same thing, whether it's a proposal or a paper or something. Like if we're both working on one thing, it's so much smoother.
Yeah, I think that's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I mean, I think it has to do with the level of excitement. Sometimes one of us will get super excited about something that you really want to start it, and then the other person would say, "Well, let's finish what we have." But in general, I mean, I like to finish things because gets too much. It's like opening too many tabs in your brain, too many programs on your computer. But my way to do that is to make sure that I throw it on someone and it's finished to me. Then I move to something else. Yeah. It's in good hands, Yeah.
Man.
Who's more likely to say, let's try it anyway?
Well, I guess I think with that one, we would talk about it and maybe find a way to make it least what's the worst that can happen situation, or how can we do it with the least to lose, and then decide on something and then go for it. But I don't.
Yeah. I mean, there's different examples, but
I remember an example for that.
So I mean, I think if it's something that, like, sometimes I feel strongly that something will like have a better chance to work, so I say that, and sometimes Noha thinks that something will be done. But I mean, to me, if it's equal, I always think of a cost-benefit analysis. If it doesn't hurt, if it's a one-day experiment, if it's a quickie in which we're going to get results quickly, then let's try it anyway. But if it's a rabbit hole, then I'm going to say no.
Okay. And then the last who's who that we have on this list is who would be most likely to anthropomorphize microbes.
When I'm teaching, for sure.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would make characters out of like different microbes in an ecosystem, and this one is doing that and saying this to the other one. Definitely.
So what's her name?
Patty?
Patty?
Yeah. Patricia.
Patty?
Micro Patty was happily free living, and
So-
then go ahead.
In the dead week, I don't teach anything new, but kind of like a review for the proposal, I make up a story about a bacterium that was free living, but then she switched her mind and she decided to become pathogenic. So she's going to go through rounds of horizontal gene transfer to grab pathogenesis genes, and then she'll end up getting killed by the immune host response when she gets in. But I give her a name, and she is a she for some reason. I also, a lot when I'm teaching, if it's an interaction situation, I make a story and I give them characters.
So when she's dying by being engulfed by a white blood cell, she keeps thinking about her life choices and how big mistake it was to
remember when I was living outside a host.
Yeah, so sad.
my.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it's
definitely
Sally.
teaching.
Doesn't matter.
Was it Sally?
I don't know. I think it was Sally.
Maybe it was. I don't remember.
Yeah. I was not expecting that at all. that came out of left field. I'm talking about Patty. I'm like, Patty, Patricia, who?
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, we appreciate you guys playing along with that who's.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can dive back into the meat and the potatoes of the actual questions here. Not that we didn't spend a good bit of time on those.
If you guys had endless money, the endless time, the perfect workforce, of course, Sam and me, or postdocs as good as Sam and me, what project would you guys pursue?
Or would you pursue things differently, in a different way, if money or people weren't an issue?
I would definitely get on the storage project, but make it like the only project in the lab going on to perfect it and find something that would work for everything.
The storage problem being the storage of anaerobic fungi that just does not work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of works, but not for everything. And
Not
finding
forever.
something that you can use and it's reliable and it's going to work 100% of the time. I don't know if this is ever going to happen.
For 80% of the time.
We can settle for 80, okay. And the genetic system, making a reliable one or finding a reliable one that you can routinely use like you would do in, I don't know, like in yeast, for example. It's like something that is like, oh, okay, let's go do that. So these two, they're both the outcome from them would be very useful, but the journey would be very long and it might the probability of its success might be less than the probability of failure, maybe equally, but possibly less. So you really have to have endless money and time, and the people working on the project don't care if it actually succeeds or not, which will never happen. Yeah.
Would you go along with that, Mostafa?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought about different things outside of anaerobic fungi because we're covered with anaerobic fungi, yeah.
How dare you?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, it's one thing that I really want to start, but I will probably never do because it's not our expertise and requires a lot of work, is trying to isolate microbial eukaryotes as the base of the eukaryotic tree. So nowadays, we know that there's Asgard archaea, and these Asgard archaea seems to be the predecessor that led to primitive eukaryotes. A lot of research are done on the Asgard archaeal site, but the base of the eukaryotic tree is a mess. And we don't know really the last universal eukaryotic ancestor, if there's many of them. So I want to make the connection between the most advanced archaean and the most primitive eukaryotes, which I think haven't been isolated, or it might not be extant anymore, and work at this base of the eukaryotic tree. And then there's quite some thought about that primitive eukaryote. Is it an aerobe or an anaerobe? And with timing and with some stuff, some people think that the evolution of oxygen on Earth was a big push to complexity and to provide this push of complexity. So maybe even the most primitive eukaryote was an aerobe, and the anaerobic primitive eukaryotes, this is like a secondary reductive evolution. So I think a lot to be discovered there, but you need to be a protostologist, and you need to really learn how to isolate this primitive microorganisms. Well, it could be done, but requires a lot of.
Since you've mastered the fungi now,
it's
for a new organism.
Completely different ballpark. Yeah, and then afterwards, that's one thing that we talked about is we want to track the evolution. That's the second thing, the evolutionary trajectory and patterns of gene gain and loss across bacterial phyla. So the myxobacteria at their top are social behavior and predation, but their primitive ancestors are not. So you want to map all of that in the tree. And with every phylum, there's something interesting, like planktomycetes and cell shape, for example, cyanobacteria and acquisition of photosynthetic genes and stuff. And then the third part would be to really dig into high-throughput single-cell isolation of novel anaerobic phyla from different environments, either with high-tech or even low-tech, multi-year slow isolation process, which is what many Japanese group does. So.
And that was, again, the teamwork that we've been talking about was very obvious now in your answers, because Mostafa went like, the base of the tree of the eukaryotes, and Noha was like, okay, we need to nail down the genome so we can finally get some answers.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let's presume the statute of limitations has expired on certain lab incidences. What would you say is the worst lab incident that you can legally talk about, or has anything particularly bad ever happened in the lab?
Oh, not here, but not in this lab, but something happened to me as a graduate student. I spilled acid all over myself.
Yeah.
I don't remember now how this whole happened. I think I left glassware in an acid bath overnight. I was grabbing something and I did something wrong, and it spilled all over me. I had jeans and like tennis shoes on, and they had holes in them.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking more of our lab. I think one graduate student one time got cut badly while preparing anaerobic fungal media.
Yeah.
Ooh. And she has to go to the.
Oh my gosh, she was bleeding so bad.
Yeah. So that was that, and
she still has a mark on her finger.
Yeah.
I feel like in an anaerobic lab, the potential for explosions is just way higher than any other lab.
Yeah.
And that's even if you're following proper protocols.
We had we were at the OU. Yeah, speaking of explosions, this one time it was not in our lab. I didn't even witness it happening, but I heard about it in a different lab. Somebody was working in the anaerobic chamber, and instead of using the tanks of nitrogen and nitrogen-hydrogen mix to fill and do the vacuum stuff, he was actually using pure hydrogen, and it did explode. and they called the fire department.
Yeah, and it made the local news.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I
It
think
made like Channel 4
I think he
news.
was trying to get things done faster.
Like
but-
up the hydrogen
Yeah.
concentration in the chamber
Yeah.
very quickly. Yeah.
Instead of waiting
Yeah.
and it exploded. And it was
Wow.
everybody was talking about it. I don't know how he could show his face again at work because he knew it was he's
No,
not
but
supposed to do that.
after that happened and the explosion knocked him away, he crawled back to turn off
Yeah, I remember that.
the hydrogen. So people were joking with him. Oh, you're a hero. You saved us all.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
That was at OU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was a postdoc on this time.
Okay, maybe a more lighthearted story from Austria. I'm sure I can tell the story without getting anybody into trouble. But we had the fire department come to our university once too, like 2 fire trucks and a small fire car. And it was a day like the university was set up in a way that there was this huge building with 8 floors. That was the main building, and our lab was in the side building that only had like 1 floor, or in America you would say 2 floors, I guess. And we were in that separate building, and suddenly the fire alarm goes off, and nobody knows what's happening. We were just calmly packing our stuff because there was no smoke, there was no fire, there was no nothing. But nobody turned off the fire alarm. There was no drill or anything. So we all left the building, and the fire alarm also went off in the big tower. So they all left the building, and we were all standing there outside, and nobody knew what was going on until at some point the physicists from downstairs came out of their cellar, and they were like, we had some popcorn in the microwave.
Yeah.
They forgot about it.
Okay. Oh wow.
Mm.
Wow. That's embarrassing.
Mm. Oh, burned popcorn.
Well, maybe we have time for our last question, right?
Yeah, we can wrap it up with this. So we divulge on our first episode that postdocs do, albeit seldom, get out and about into the wilds of the universe. And we're not always in the lab. But is that true with PIs? You know, do PIs ever get outside of the lab or outside of your offices, which happen to be in the lab? Or are you ever not in the lab? Because I feel like oftentimes we see you there when we think we won't see you in there.
And if you ever get outside, what are you doing?
Yes.
I always ask myself this: what if I was doing the same job, but I didn't have any kids? Would I be working more, or would I find time to do other things? I'm this close to being with no kids because 2 more years and they will both be out of the house. So maybe we will figure it out then. But for now, if I'm not in the lab, I'm doing something for them or with them. But yeah, we shall see.
Kids, sports, running specifically all the time, and reading.
So you do run? Is that one of your hobbies?
Yeah.
Nice. Both of
Yeah,
you?
we're boring.
No, she is. I mean, she is. She ran a marathon. She finished the marathon.
Not
She ran
anymore.
but I mean,
We'll
she
never
finished
do
the
this again.
marathon and she finished a couple of halves.
Half, maybe I can
Wow.
get back to it, but full, I would never, ever do this again. 5 hours of torture was that.
That sounds lovely.
Well, if you run faster, it's if you run less.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. The good thing about that day was that the weather was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. It wasn't windy.
2015.
It
So
was
not in
good
Oklahoma?
weather. It was in Oklahoma, and in April, which the year after or 2 years after, it was biting cold, kind of like what we had this last weekend. But usually in April, it's a hit or miss. But that day, for the full, it was a pretty day. So I could not blame the weather for anything, really. It was me. It's all me. Yeah.
So PIs do have hobbies. We know that now.
Who would have thought?
Exactly. Who would have thought?
Because we do. It is true. We do find you. Like, you go in the lab on a Saturday morning, thinking to quickly subculture, sneak in and sneak out, and then there they are.
Well, our spirits hover there 24/7. That's for sure.
It,
And our
it-
bodies are there. Yeah.
it
sometimes.
helps a lot because it's literally 5 minutes away from the house.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I'm very effective in the mornings. I mean, I don't work much in the afternoons and some working days. So I feel bad, so I need to compensate in the mornings of Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh.
Well,
Julia, I think this has been absolutely lovely. And Mostafa and Noha, thank you all so much for joining us here in the podcast chamber. And I think the anaerobic chamber calls. And so probably best that we all head on back at the very least to check on our undergrads and make sure they're still functioning and cognizant.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. Really.
Yes, it was lovely. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having us.
thank you guys.
Well, we
for being
appreciate you
here.
guys being on.
Well,
Bye, everybody.
bye, everybody.
Bye.